the demand for a good or service exceeds the availability of the good. As a result, scarcity can limit the options available to consumers, who ultimately comprise the economy. Scarcity denotes the presence of fewer resources than are required to meet human wants and needs. These resources can be derived from the land, labor, or capital. For example, water scarcity. As a result of a global warming and changing weather patterns, some parts of the world have become drier and rivers have dried up. As a result, there is a scarcity of drinking water. These are the necessities in life. For example, food, clothing, warmth, and medical care. Examples of needs are more things such as housing costs, car insurance, a basic phone plan, toiletries, health insurance, medical care, transportation costs, and many more. Wants, these are the things that make life enjoyable and pleasure. Examples of wants includes things like extra clothing, travel, entertainment, deluxe cable package, and many more.
Opportunity cost is the most important concept in all economics. This represents the potential benefit of individual, investor, or business misses out when choosing one alternative over another. Example in it, a student sleeping during class hours. The opportunity cost is the learning that the student missed. The second example, if you choose to marry one person, you give up the opportunity to marry someone else. And comparative advantage is the ability to produce a particular good or services at a lower opportunity cost than its trading partners. Example in it is a call center in USA companies buy those service in India because it is cheaper than in America. However, many reports of miscommunication, the way they speak, the example providing a less expensive service outweighs providing a low quality service.
First, we have this problem: what to produce. When resources are insufficient, what can a society do? It selects the products and services it will produce. In addition, it establishes the required quantity. For example, do we prefer capital goods such as machines and equipment, or consumer goods such as cell phones and other electronic devices? While it may appear simple, society must determine the type and quantity of each and every commodity or service produced. The second basic economic problem is that how to produce. A variety of ways can be used to create a product. The techniques for producing the commodity must be chosen by society. Similarly, identical decisions are required for all goods and or services. Cotton cloth, for example, can be made on hand looms, power looms, or automatic looms. Automatic looms, on the other hand, require more power and capital investment than hand looms. Furthermore, the choice is based on the availability of various production factors as well as their pricing. Typically, a society chooses a method that makes the best use of its resources. Lastly, we have for whom to produce. Is it possible for a community to satisfy all human desires? Definitely not. As a result, it must determine who receives what portion of the overall production of goods and services generated. In other words, society determines how goods and services are distributed among its members. For example, graded rice is produced for those with higher paying ability, whereas non-graded rice is produced for persons with lesser paying capacity. Luxury goods and services are reserved for the wealthy. There are four factors of production, namely land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. So the first one is land. Represents land and natural resources and is typically cultivated or improved for production. Examples of these are farms, agricultural land, natural gas, coal, and forest. Its factor income is rent. For the second is labor. Represents human capital. They are the ones who transform raw materials, regulate equipment to produce goods and services. Examples of these are workers, employees, and waiters. The factor income generated from labor is wages. So for the third is capital. Represents physical assets and may also refer to investment capital used in production. Examples of these are production facilities, warehouses, and equipment. Each factor income is interest. So lastly, entrepreneurship, also known as enterprise. This represents the factors that decides how much will you produce and in what way the other factors are used in the production. An example of entrepreneurship is the evolution of the social media behemoth Meta or FB, formerly Facebook. Its factor income is profit.
The basic circular flow diagram. This diagram shows the interaction between the two economic decision makers, the households and the businesses. From the households, the businesses will get its workers or the factor of production known as labor. And then the businesses will pay its workers from the household will be known as their personal income or the wages, dividends, or mostly known as their salary. And then the household will buy its daily needs and wants from the businesses, which they will spend money and will be called as their expenditures. And then the businesses will offer its goods and services, or they will sell their goods and services to the people from the household. And overall, this is called the basic circular flow diagram because the money will just flow in circles between the household and the businesses.